Come and get started on a new mission, a new direction, a new intention. Welcome to 5.8G Alive at Connections 50 Plus. I am Terry-Ann Joseph Brathwaite.
And I am Jennifer Gibbons Joseph, catering to all your prospects in the third act of life.
Economic well-being, social gratification, personal fulfillment.
Join us on Wednesday at 6 p.m. on Connections 50 Plus Facebook page, YouTube channel,
and on Gael the Caribbean.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show, and I should say a live horticultural and gardening show for the month of May, just prior to Corpus Christi. So we had how many? We had 3. We had 2 ornamental, and then we started with the vegetable garden, or we had our experts still have with us, Karl Burgess. And this week for this show, we're going in to talk about soil, right? And what all the different types of soil are. We will know whether we have been using good soil, bad soil, or what soil is all about. So let's move forward to listen to Karl share with us some rare valuable tips about soil and about our vegetable or kitchen garden, or just gardening as a whole. Yeah, great.
The clay is important because the clay will help support the plant itself. So it's a mixture of garden soil. So if you have to make soil at home, I would recommend 1 bucket of garden soil, 1 of organic matter, rotted manure, 1 bucket of peat moss, and sharp sand.
Well, we ended the discussion last week on soil. At least you just gave a bit of summary, and I was all excited because I wouldn't say I'm passionate about soil, but a frustrated
No.
And I
more
know the difference
frustrated
between soil and organic matter.
than passionate. Because I understand, Karl, the need for proper soil for anything to grow, and whether it's ornamental, whether it's vegetable, right? My issue, and I find I do read, I try to read up to see, the mix, etc. But I'm not into the mixing. I feel it's so much easier to go and buy soil, right? But listen to me, I buy soil from, and I say it like a typical Trini, from all over the place. Wherever they say that's a good soil. So I would go into the plant shop, and they have about 3 different types. And I would ask the guy, listen, I want to freshen up these plants. He said, what kind of plants? Are they old plants or young plants? And I say, no, mature. That's the word he will use. Are they mature plants? And I say, most of them mature, but they need a little popping up. And he will say, okay, use X topsoil, and I will buy that bag, and I will put it in. And I may go next day and I see the advertising other kind of soil, and I buy that soil too. But the thing about it, I have found, and very recently, as recent as a few days ago, must be about 3 days, because I did my gardening Friday. Friend called and said, Jennifer, this guy selling real nice soil. 5 bags for $100. I said, that's very good, because I buy me 1 big bag. That's about $80. So 5 bags for 100. I say, yes.
Remember
It's
the people
after
in the
buying the other
grocery
soil.
with the seasoning.
Let me tell you, the difference is, now I'm not knocking anybody's soil. I'm just sharing my experience as an expert, and I'm hoping you could solve my problem here. So, but there's a vast difference with these type of soil. Terry-Ann and I, about a month or 2, Terry-Ann, when we bought more plants, and I'm not naming because I don't want nobody to say, I'm not pointing fingers. I bought a very popular place with, so we bought soil, a bigger bag, huge bag now, double the other one. Because I have a lot of plants and a lot, so soil is, I use a lot of soil. What I have found, though, Carl, all the soil, all of them are mixed soil, eh? And they tell me, I read it. Mixed soil, and the guys say this is mixed soil for more mature plants. This is mixed soil if you're now putting on the plant. This is all of them fancy mixed soil. But let me tell you, some, when I put it down, like the 5 bags for 100, I don't know if you go by color. It's a blackish one, but it tick. It tick. I know what mix it is. Whatever mix is almost wet. You understand? It's like a black clay one. It's not loose. The big bag from the plant shop, it light. You have to use that big bag once you could only do 4 plants. If you put water just sinking in, you know, the soil just...
It's not properly mixed.
Right, it's foreign, it's fancy, as a fancy bag. Eh? And then the other one we bought, the mix full. When I say full, and not as clay as the 5 bags or the 100, but it's much thicker. It have more body in it than the nice light one. So I'm just explaining 3 now. It have more than that, but I'm just using that to see. Someone like me who hoping that when you go into the plant shop or whoever selling the soil will really give advice. All of them telling me the same thing. Use this soil. This real good. Don't use that one. That one is for that. So let me throw it in your lap because I have plenty. I still have the 5 bags. I used 1 bag this morning. So I have 4 more from the 5 bags.
Let me tell you my experience. What I do, let's say I'm going to do a mix, all right? I would have like a bag of that clay soil. Okay. I have a bag of the organic matter, whether it's leaves, just leaves what I collected from the yard,
right?
Branches, etc. And I would put that 1 to 1. Okay, it's like a construction bucket. So when I'm finished, it has body, but it is also light. You know, it's not a heavy soil. Right? What happens is you put the plants in Terry. After a while, remember the plants are using up all that organic matter, but it's decomposing, set, and the soil comes back to clay.
So clay is not food for plants? Clay and sand is not food for plants?
There's a lot of science behind that, right? But basically, the clay helps to support the structure of the plant, to keep the plant upright.
Okay. I must interrupt here then, Carl. My plants should be doing well in my clay soil.
Why?
It should hold up.
They have no food.
No, you see, if you don't have the clay, if you only have that light stuff, and it can't support it. It's too light.
Okay. But before we get into that, you gave us a very interesting story about soil structure in Trinidad, geographically.
Yeah, I think that was important. That's important for people to know.
And when good soil is bad, none of it is good or bad, but at least it gives you a guide on how much work you have to do to amend your soil to get it to be successful.
Exactly.
Especially if you're planting directly into the ground.
Into the ground.
I think that's important.
Yeah, if you're planting directly into the ground, I would recommend that you dig the hole. Let's say you're going to put down a fruit tree. Right? So you dig the hole, and then you take out that material and you mix it up with, I would say, like a bucket, a construction bucket of organic manure, horse manure, chicken manure. Some people usually would, they go down in the country or friend and they get the wood.
Rotten wood.
Rotten wood.
Well, I have 2 bags of that. We'll come to that.
And mix up all of those.
Let's for that from the sawmill.
Mix up all of those.
Rotten wood, not groundwood, Jennifer.
That's what I want. We come into all that. I think there are many people like me listening who want to get this explanation.
It make a nice soil mix, like for fruit tree. So when you put in the fruit tree into the hole, it will have enough area for the roots to run very quickly. Because remember, it's very young roots going to come out now. And you need a very loose soil to grow properly. If the soil is heavy, the roots cannot penetrate. And if you like sapote, it cannot penetrate the soil. It's forcing its way through in order for the plant to grow properly. So the looser the soil, the better. As the tray establishes itself, it will get it could support the heavier soils. But wherever like for home gardening, the looser the soil with clay in it, the better. Because you're getting the body to hold the plant upright, and you're getting the organic matter, which will help make the plant grow better. Look back at it. When you're driving home.
You're talking clay. I hear sand. There's clay soil, there's sand soil.
Right, a mixture of clay and sand, right?
All right, and then, so yeah, soil either sandy, which means it's dry. And as far as I'm concerned, to me, sandy soil is dry. It's always dry and it kind of loose. Clayey soil is sapate mud. It just, and it doesn't even drain properly. It doesn't drain properly, and that's the one you skate on it and you fall down and all that kind of stuff. Good. So those two, and sorry for going after this point. So if I have essentially clay or sand, I plant my plant into those things. The plant is likely not to do well because that is soil, but not organic matter, which is what the plant needs to feed on.
It needs both the soil and the organic matter.
So the clay holding up the plant, the sand will have the plant falling down.
Right,
so
because
that's why you need clay and
sand.
sand.
Sand is basically for drainage.
Okay. So the clay for structure.
Well, then I should be able to buy one bag with all what you're telling me there to do it. We shouldn't have to be mixing all the time.
We have to make.
When you find that place, tell me.
So because what I'm hearing from you, and I may laugh, I have the different, I have the different ones, right? I bought two, well, I have 2 bags. This is this week, huh? There's this week. 2 bags of, I got it Saturday, right? 2 bags of chipped wood from the sawmill. Don't be not, you're not telling you what I have, right? 2 bags of the chipped wood. The 5 bags of whatever for the $100. Don't ask me what in it. My friend told me it's work good. I don't know what in it. And I have half bag of the more expensive one, the light one. What I'm here, and I have plenty mango leaves that I got rid of, but I still have a lot. So what you are suggesting, or if I hear you right, I should combine everything I have now?
Yeah.
Including the chipwood?
You see the chipwood, you have to be careful because some of the material depending on what tree it comes from. So that's why I come back in. You have to make sure you have a proper soil mix with everything in it. So what you have there, make one big color loop.
So my experiment in the yard where I'm bringing everything and I have people like laborers mixing mortar is
use it, right?
So Carla could go and buy this soil from Terry and she have the combination. Terry and I ain't going and mix something. I could drop the ingredients by you and get mixed.
Just do a certain percentage, you know? I would mix up everything.
Other way than see if plants grow first with that combination.
Yeah, but what happens also is that, remember, every area is different.
Yeah, so and that's what. Could you repeat for our audience, Carl, about being aware about where we live in Trinidad?
Coming across.
The different, different type of soil that we have in the different areas.
Okay, if you look back geologically, when Trinidad was being formed geologically, with the mountains and the rainfall, etc., all the material came down to form what they call the plains or in the valley areas. So some areas generally let's say from Sagaramas, you're going from Sagaramas to Tofu, west to east. Okay? Sagaramas has one of the best soils in the country. Maybe because the geological process in those places was much more weathering in that areas than in other areas. And as you come across, as you're going from Sagaramas into Port of Spain, into Laventille, coming up the highway, going from west to east, right? the soil is generally good in those areas.
That's like Aranguez, the farm
Around
areas.
like where the farm is in UE,
Yeah,
right? UE farm where Mount Topaz is,
yeah.
right? All that was some very good agricultural land. And as you go out, and even to Napoleon going into Ruka, up to Waterfield, it kind of changes into more sandy type soil.
That's more the
Okay.
cane land,
Huh?
where the cane was grown.
No. Cane was growing more towards the center. Cane could tolerate anything, so that's why they put it in the
Okay,
center in those areas.
okay.
But even though the cane is growing in the center, if you notice where the Montserrat Hills are, the central range, is a very good soil where the cocoa farmers are.
Oh, so you're staying more on the
Oh.
hills. You're staying closer to the hills. You're not getting in the
Yes,
middle.
along the
So we're
areas
staying
around the
along the
hills,
hills.
yeah.
Okay,
Right, so
okay.
the floodplains between, let's say, the north-east-west corridor and to the hills in the central part of Trinidad,
Yeah.
okay, that flat area there, so the soils, I would say, were kind of okay-ish. So you could tolerate more sugarcane because sugarcane could grow
Agriculture,
very
mass.
hard, harsh lands, right?
Okay.
Now, over the years, what you'll find, because of the amount of buildings and construction and housing, a lot of that soil has been lost.
All right. So to continue what you're saying, so by the time you reach Arima, Sandy Grande, you don't have very good soil?
You have pockets of good soil. That's why I remember years ago when they put all the farmers, the pig farmers in Waterfield, right? Because the soil there, it's what they call bush or something like that. Harsh trees, grove and things will survive in those
Savannah. It was the Aripo Savannah is there.
Yeah, because the grasses could grow. So you have more your cattle and animals in those
okay.
areas. Mhm.
Grass doesn't
Because
need
I'm in
to
Arima, area, close up there to the Waterfield side.
Yeah.
And as I said, when I first moved here and we were grading the land, it was well, I understand it's sand now because we have a lot of sand pits up this side.
Yeah.
So I am saying clay, but I am seeing now more sandy, clay type
And
soil.
they come back down to the soil profile. So you have
Yeah.
different, you have a different, the top will be more organic matter, let's say in Sagarama's area. But if you come
Yeah.
down central where the cane lands are, the organic matter will be much less in those areas.
Okay. Yeah. I follow now. So you have to understand that. Is that why too in Trinidad you have some areas you say, okay, you find more citrus in that area, or you get more watermelon in that area. And when you go further, they tend to be more famous for certain type of crops or fruits.
Well, not necessarily. Remember, during the 1960s, could be the 1960s, maybe before the country was developed as it is. They did a whole soil survey of all the soils in Trinidad and Tobago. They have it in about 5 or 6 books. I'm not certain whether those books are still available. Right? And what they did, they mapped out all the soils in Trinidad. Now, this was taken about 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago.
Okay.
So at that point in time, we don't have it as it is now. So when they did it at that time, their recommendation was these crops could grow in these particular areas.
Okay, I see. Yeah. All right.
But after time, you know what happened? So what happened with development, etc. So a lot of that soil is lost. So what we have to do now as home gardeners is to try to create almost an ideal soil for our personal crops.
I understand now.
I cannot go back. In very few areas now where you see where they grade in, you'll see they actually grade off the first few inches and they pack it separately. Okay?
Especially if you're living in a housing development. Because all the topsoil go on to build the houses and then they put back something.
They put back something.
$5 for $100 back.
They put back something. Right? And what they're putting back, they're not putting back on a natural soil progression. They just putting back on the lower part of the profile. So remember they're taking out the topsoil and leaving the bottom of the profile, which is basically rock. And now they have to come in,
Yeah.
they have to put back soil in that area for you to have the little garden, whatever. Housing areas, industrial areas, and clear off the topsoil.
So would we say this is what we're dealing with, Carl?
Right. So a soil, the top of it with what we call humus or leaf litter, organic matter. Again, think of a forested area where when the trees drop all the leaves, etc. Right, that is what is building up the topsoil or the air horizon. So it actually rich in the humus minerals, the bones from the animals, earthworms, millipedes, centipedes, all type of life in that topsoil. Right? So when you come down, that is what they move off to put down the housing areas, etc.
So the humus on the topsoil gone.
Yeah. So what
So
we
we
have now
trying to
is
plant in subsoil?
we're trying to plant in subsoil by adding topsoil onto the subsoil. So that's why you really don't get good growth in some cases. A good example, coming over the Lady Young Road, coming over the Lady past Hilton, coming back and you're going out of Port of Spain. Slow down and look at the soil there, right? The topsoil is only a few inches where the plants are. The rest of it is pure rock.
Yeah, you reached that. I'm seeing, I can now understand
Right?
and
So
why you need that mixture.
yeah, you need to
Humus
keep
and
it,
because we have gotten rid
yeah. So that is
of
what
the
we have to try and
two
recreate
key
now.
aspects for the plant. Yeah.
So
And
we
if
have
you
to
live like
recreate that
me,
now for our
if you,
plants at home.
if you live like me
Okay.
on the hills in Chamfleur,
Mhm.
I think I down to weathered rock fragments because between quarrying and cutting, because
Yeah,
I have nothing to work with. That's why I have to.
right. If you look at where they're doing quarrying in some of those areas, they're down to the bare rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And houses there, and then so the only thing I could
Yeah.
really naturally grow is lawn.
But even if with the lawn, you still have to put a layer of soil for the plants to grow, for the lawn to grow, the lawn grass.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have to
Actually, I had to do that, Carl, to put a layer of before we did the for the lawn. We had to get some truckloads of soil to go, and that was recommended before we
yeah,
did
because
lawn.
remember they who are building, they don't want a topsoil ready to put a foundation on topsoil. The
No.
will move. So they need to go down to the rock where they could put on a strong foundation.
And that's what has happened. Okay.
So we have
And
to keep
then
building up.
and then also you can't do it can't be a one and done thing. Because
No.
even if you put your topsoil to start
You have to
with,
keep adding.
you have to keep adding it like the forest.
Definitely.
If you don't have a replenishment every year, you're going to end up back to rock.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you're doing a container gardening, right? You controlling your mixture now. You putting in your container what you want.
Right.
So
So
mixture of soil and peat moss, manure, sharp sand, etc. And the sharp sand is important, especially for things like pak choy and lettuce, celery and chives, because they have a lot of fine roots, right? And the quicker they drain out, the better. Because if the roots only stay too wet, the soil stays too wet, right? Those fine roots will rotten faster, and the plants die back. Okay? So sometimes people say the wetter soil, and the water just run out. It doesn't matter, because the organic matter, those dry leaves, etc., will hold a certain amount of moisture. And since it is part of your mixture that you made, that would be sufficient for the plants to survive.
So you don't have to wet it all the time, morning and evening as we want to do it.
No, you don't need to wet it all the time. You might need to wet it on a hot day or windy day or something like that. But you don't want the water collecting. Again, sometimes what happens is that you see the top of the container looking dry, right? And you feel it want water.
Yeah,
right?
but it
Down
below
where the
has,
roots are,
yes,
has
moist.
sufficient moisture for the roots to survive. So by keep adding more water, you actually drown in the plant. you know.
So the more tender the root system, the more loose the soil must be,
All right. You know,
and the more nutritious it must be. So you need natural material, which is the organic matter, decomposed natural material.
okay, again, look at it this way. When you look at the hills behind where you live, Terry,
We really killing
Right.
our plants.
right? Where all those trees are,
Yeah.
okay? Or you're taking a drive to south and you look at the little hills, wherever you go, right? Have they ever fertilized those hills?
True. No. No, it's just the leaves dropping. Nobody goes there to fertilize it.
You
Right.
know, Carl,
Because
you're quite
looking,
right. Because let me tell you, I always watch, especially some of these pawpaw trees when you're driving in the country. Growing all and some, I don't know, I know nobody watering them or nothing. You see pawpaw. Other things, some of the croton in the country looking nice, every rich, rare, beautiful colors.
Mhm.
And when you look at where the croton trees are, I know nobody put in a set of soil or spraying or anything. And I always find that is interesting.
Because
You know,
nature takes care of itself.
why
Right?
not in our little garden?
Wait, Carl, let me, all right.
You have to become like nature. You have to be one with nature.
Carl,
You
let
have to
me, let
think
me,
like
That's
nature.
interesting. That's
let-
very interesting.
let me put
That one.
another context in, because both Jennifer and I live in areas that developers have removed the topsoil and left us with rock.
Yes.
So we have to put, we recently visited a friend who lives in the Cunupia Perseverance area, which is near to the Gulf. So you have, it's really a floodplain, rice lands, all
Mhm.
rice lands, lagoon lands, and you
Yeah.
have housing developments. And when you look at her yard, you feel you're on the beach. You feel
Yeah.
you're on the beach because it's
Yes.
so this is, so for people who live in what I would call floodplains that have been drained and have been developed as housing or stuff. So they too would have had, they would never have had topsoil because this would have been flooded areas. So what would
Right.
their challenge be for soil?
Their challenge would have to improve whatever you have.
Mhm.
Right? And the way to improve it is by adding, I'm going to use the word again, organic matter.
But I
Leaves,
know now is the leaves and stuff, not the clay and the sand.
rotten horse manure, etc.
Ah,
And keep incorporating that into the container or the area before they actually put on a tray. You're improving the soil. You're trying to think like how nature thinks and act like how nature acts.
all right. So
Again, it
sometimes,
comes back, nature never,
sometimes we live in an area and we want our area to look like this. So I might be in a floodplain and I'm looking at my natural soil.
Yeah.
I could just imagine the river drain away and I have a sandy clayey bed, clay or sandy. But I want a lush tropical garden that needs a lot of humus. So I have to then understand that I probably need every year to bring 4 truckloads of topsoil, not topsoil,
It's
organic
truckloads of
material
topsoil.
there.
yeah. You need
So,
to do that.
Terry, and I know that for a
Or-
fact because, yeah,
Yeah.
it
You
keeps
have to-
sinking. And then when it rains, after a time,
just go in.
washes because again I learned that living in a Rima and I was still rainy. I mean now it's different, but it's rain and rain and more rain, you know. So the soil after I put the topsoil and I look on the plant and I say yes. Next thing you know, you look and you see in the clay again. You have to come and put back more topsoil. But Carl, from listening to you on this, I am thinking, maybe some of us, depending on the areas we're in, is really better to do more container gardening, where you have the control of what soil. So I'm thinking, I don't think I put in anything in the ground again. I will just use the wooden chips to keep down the weed. But look at some container gardening because I can control my soil with that.
Yeah, but it can work two ways. If I want a good kitchen garden, I'll have to maybe use containers. If my space around me is big enough, then I can put down some trees. Okay.
Okay, that's a good idea.
So-
Yeah,
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 so trees like mangoes could tolerate anything. All
yeah.
right. Tamarind could tolerate anything. Guava could tolerate anything. Avocados, no. Avocados like a free draining soil.
Well, I learned that.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 avocado plants already.
Okay.
So
So
I
that's
know
why
not to put avocado in the ground by me. That
so
is
that's why
interesting. I did not know then. I only knew after, and still no one told me that it needed that particular type of soil.
yeah.
I
So
okay.
that's why I come back to before you start your kitchen garden or if you
You
have your
plant.
house, you plan it out. You understand what you have, what resources you have. Right? Because you have a vision that I would like to put on this tree or that tree.
Yeah, because I plant in the fruits I like. I plant in the vegetables I like. I don't want to plant things I don't like. But those are the things my soil may not like. Yeah.
Correct. So,
Accommodates.
so you're making soil now.
Ah,
Right?
No, I agree with the planning, yeah.
Right, so then you have to look at the area and look at what soil I have, the type of soil I have, and let me see if I can get my soil as close as possible to like a forested area. I'm going to use the forested areas, that type of soil on the ground. So I have to add this, you add it, all what you got within the last week or so, make one big mixture of it and see how it works out. Terry, you look at yours too and keep monitoring it. So that
I'll wait and Terry and see how it was going.
I have an extra bag. Carl, I want you to come and look at my net. I have an extra bag.
no, I can look
You
at
can
it.
see me. I'm
Is there instrument, Carl? Is there instrument that you could measure soil? You know, where put it in the
Soil
soil and
test,
it
yes.
tells you if
You
it
can
have
get
all
soil
the
test.
necessary ingredients.
No, it wouldn't, they don't have, that would be a more detailed soil test. Right?
Yeah, that's what, okay.
But they have little instruments like what they call a pH meter to tell you basically, whether
Acidity
the
and
soil is acidic or
alkalinity.
alkaline or neutral.
No, I want to dip and say they must say good soil.
No. You see that is part of the problem too, because the guys who coming around selling, right? It's based on perception. So you see it looking brown, you see it looking black, you feel it good, right? But that is not always the case.
Yeah, if it looking too sandy and thing, we don't want it.
You wouldn't know
Because
because you're buying.
yes, you feel it and have enough
You're
thing
buying a
in it.
bag. You're buying a bag. You don't
Yeah.
look at the bag. Okay. So that's why you need to. Once you understand it, and in the planning that happens to you, plan that okay. I need to add this. I need to add that. So you need to read and reread and cross-reference, in order to get what you really want.
All right. So Carl, let's go through some of we'll go back to the diagram that we had on our soil, and then we kind of will go through the process of making soil if we could.
Okay.
So we have here, we lose the humus, we lose the topsoil. We're dealing with rock. Next, you talked about soil
Okay, just
builders.
hold. You see this slide?
Yeah.
Right? In a good soil, all those things are in the soil.
These are what I call the creepy crawlies.
All that thing that's calling bacteria, organic matter, the bones from the nematodes, earthworms, all that is in the soil. Right? And that is what helps the plant to grow because everything there has a function. Okay? So like when you buy the fertilizer needs to be broken down into a stage where the plants could absorb it. It's not absorbing directly the fertilizer. It's absorbing a byproduct or the ingredients in the fertilizer. And the animals and all the bacteria and things like that, arthropods, etc., help, right, in making the material so the plant roots could absorb it very carefully, very thick.
So the animals will convert the organic matter to the thing that the fertilizer is developing. So that's like making your own fertilizer.
Let's say the fertilizer, the nutrients, the elements that the plants would need.
Okay.
That is why you never see them fertilize the northern range. Because the plants themselves have everything in it.
That's the NPK business that's on every fertilizer. The
Yeah,
nitrogen, the phosphorus, and the potassium.
right.
Okay.
Just have it naturally. When
So
the
if I have all the
organic
creepy crawlies in my soil, instead of spraying them to death and killing them, and then
No,
have to
don't-
buy
don't-
fertilizer.
yeah, well, remember, thou shalt not kill. Right?
Yeah, but some of them gonna be eaten depending on the type. If you have a fruit tree
Some of
or
them, okay, some of
vegetables,
them,
they're gonna be
some of
eaten
them
away at it.
you get out of hand because the whole nature becomes unbalanced now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're having more of one than the other. So you need to keep it balanced. If you keep it balanced properly, you'll find that things will grow very healthy. But
Okay.
it's how to create that balance.
And this takes time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what one of the things I've learned with gardening and nature. Nature don't hurry, you know. All right?
So I can't fix it for this Corpus Christi. I had to prepare for next Corpus Christi.
You can prepare it maybe for Christmas. All right? Okay. Nature
Okay.
don't hurry, but everything that still grow and flourish in its own time.
All right. So the next thing you say, you look at what is soil made up of. So when we
Right.
mix
So
in,
an ideal soil will have a certain amount of air because the plant's roots need air to breathe. They
and
need
the
oxygen.
fluffiness of the soil.
Right. So the mineral particles, a certain amount of water. And if you look at the organic matter, you see a certain number of organisms, roots.
Wait, so your mineral particles is your clay or your sand?
Yeah. It could be the clay or the sand here. Okay. The organic matter, like decayed plant and animal material.
So you don't need a
All
lot
of
of that.
Huh?
You don't need a lot of that.
No, you need just about half of it. Let's say 45%, but about half of it supposed to be the clay
Mm-hmm.
or the sand or something.
No, it's the organic matter I'm talking about. That
No, you don't really need much
which is the
because
food, the rotten stuff, the living stuff.
yeah, you don't really need much of it, but you need it to keep the soil as loose as possible
Hmm.
because you want the roots to grow through it quickly.
Okay. So in the organic matter, the humus you say is 80%. That's the dead leaves and stuff. Roots will be all roots from all plants. And
Yeah.
organisms will be all the animals we saw on the thing before.
Yeah, like sometimes like if you leave some soil at home and you're like let's say if somebody you put all the leaves in one spot to make a compost, right? And when you start to turn it up, you realize you have all kind of creepy things look
Yeah,
inside.
that's why Carl, I can't deal with the compost
And
at
worms
all.
and all of that kind of stuff. And that's why you
Yeah,
take out the pamphlet and start to spray because you had to kill that.
no, don't kill them, don't kill them. Everybody has a purpose.
Okay. All
So
right.
that
So,
it helps even so the organic matter helps improve the physical structure of the clay, the soil itself, or the sand. And the whole structure of it. So it doesn't become as hard and like suffocated. It becomes much more loose, right? So the soil is easier to work or to turn over, right? Because of the organic matter, it will hold a certain amount of moisture, right? It will also help prevent erosion, right? So the moisture is important for the roots. Remember, the roots grow, right? And in growing is the young roots, the fine roots that actually helps the organic matter will, let me see if I'm saying it correct. The organic matter will have moisture, and that moisture is sufficient for the young roots of the plant.
okay.
And they supply the plant with nutrients.
Okay.
So Carl, actually now, when you mix that soil, whether the plant is a mature plant or whether you're now starting this from the seedling or the very small plants, you're using the same mix.
Yeah.
So you don't have this special for when it mature and special thing. When we do our mix, it goes for everything.
You can go for everything, yeah. You don't have to
So you give us a recipe here.
you have no recipe here. The recipe is a good soil. right? For whatever plant you're putting down, the recipe is a good soil. It had no, except in the case of like the bromeliads or some of the ornamentals, which really need a don't really need soil.
Mhm.
It needs something to hold on to, like the anthuriums, the roots of the anthuriums or the orchids. Remember, they are epiphytes. They grow on trees. It's like you see those wild orchids on trees, etc., with ferns, etc. All they really need is just that amount of moisture. They don't need a soil.
Okay.
So we assume a soil on the bromelas then.
So,
Because if you see me, all my pots pack up with I could just use the chipwood.
you could know, I was doing more or less like something like clay, something that will hold a certain amount of moisture.
Okay.
Because
That's
clay,
easy for me for the bromelas with my soil.
The
Pardon?
coconut husk, that's why you just put the coconut husk for the
Right, yeah,
orchids to just
you have to
hold
hold
on
on,
to.
there's enough moisture. You don't need
Which
overwater.
I'm saying too, wouldn't the chipwood, what I got from the sawmill work with that, with the bromelias and the orchids? Now, actually, my orchids is be flowering and the bromelias doing well, but I don't know what
Nothing.
I
Leave them
don't know
alone,
what they're doing.
Jennifer.
It just
They grow
You
with
need
air,
Yeah,
air and rain.
it is moisture, right? I'm not, I'm very
I think that's what they have moisture.
careful, I'm very careful with the sawmill wood chips, etc.
Mhm.
Because sometimes the cedar, especially cedar could really the material and the
The
tannins in the
acidity in it.
cedar, yeah, it kind of acid there, and that could kill the roots of the plant.
I don't think
But
those things are for soil. They're more like mulch. I think
You could use
I
it as
use
a
it.
mulch.
Actually, I do use it in the soil. Terry is correct. What I use it, and I really stand by that.
yeah,
If you don't want to be weeding your garden,
yeah,
But that's why I use a mulch.
it
yeah,
keeps down the weed.
yeah.
It's not as sophisticated as the mulch that is the nice colored mulch. It's raw, straight from
Yeah.
So it's better if you use natural mulch rather than those things in the bag, because remember
Oh well,
those things,
then that is natural mulch,
And the
straight
wood
from the
chip.
sawmill.
no, the
It
red,
would chip.
the wood chip is the natural, but I'm talking about those in the bags.
The color
Right,
was
that
no.
the colored
Oh, well, I
ones.
stop buying those.
Those are
Putting
dyed
enough
in,
money on the soil.
that is
So
just
I
dyed
buy from the sawmill.
those are just dyed, they dyed to a red or they dyed to a brown or they dyed to a black.
Mhm.
And it might last for a long time, but it's not helping the plant to grow properly.
Mhm.
Right? The idea is just to keep down the weeds, let's say.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I personally don't like it because, especially the red, I find the red is a very bright, vibrant color. So if
Mm.
I come by your yard and you have a lot of nice plants, and all I'll be seeing is the red mulch, I wouldn't be seeing your plants.
It takes away from the beauty of the plant. That's what you say. But what is the difference between those that like that the nice dyed one in the bag as against the raw ones from it's the same wood, but it's nicely chipped up and dyed.
But it doesn't decompose.
Oh,
It doesn't decompose as
okay.
fast as a natural, like from the trees or the forested areas or like leaves
Okay,
in the back
I
of
hear
the.
Or
you.
even
All
the
right.
wood chip, even the chip up wood
Yeah,
from the sawmill, at least it
yeah.
will
They don't decompose as fast. But yeah, I
So
might have it there
don't
for
put
years.
anything that doesn't decompose in your soil into the soil.
No, I wouldn't put anything that do decompose.
Interesting.
I don't like it. I don't use it at all. I
Okay.
prefer everything natural as possible because you see,
One of the
when I put my natural material, I know I'm also getting all the earthworms, etc. Right? So I don't have to buy fertilizers. Right? Because everything is there naturally. Yeah.
Oh,
So
I know the compost color can't be convinced, and I don't like that. But tell me
yeah,
something though, when you use the leaves, should you, most of them, those natural material, you should leave it a while. Well, I know it's compost, but leave it a while before you put it, like heap it around the plants.
I would say you don't need to. You could put it one time.
I could
right?
put it one time.
And because
But
like
because it's
now,
mixed, I'm mixing it with other elements.
mixing it
So
with
it's not just
everything
that
else, so
glue.
everything else, all the insects, it will break it down faster.
Okay, just wondered.
Oh, so I would give a little leaf story because Jennifer, when we were visiting and Carl saw my because I have a big mango tree in my yard, and like Jennifer, I have leaves, and I had a whole trough full of leaves. And Carl, you suggested that I chop it up before I use it. And so when my trusty gardeners came, we covered them and they put a whacker inside of there. And it
And they
really
get
made
it.
a big difference. It really, really, when we cut up they whacked up all the leaves, it really, I would say I could see the organic benefit as opposed to a whole
Of it.
dry mango leaf.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
again, because it comes back to the understanding, because mango leaves take very long to rotten compared with avocados and other leaves.
Okay.
So you have to,
So that's why you,
finer, it will rotten faster than an entire leaf.
Would burning the leaves help?
No, I wouldn't burn anything at all, because burning what burning does is it converts everything into just your ash. Okay, so the guys who do slash and burn agriculture, right? They convert everything into ash. So the ash would have the NPK and all the nutrients, etc. Yeah. But so when they plant the first crop, they realize they get a nice crop. By the time they come to the second crop and the third crop,
it have no more.
It have no more ash. It have nothing again.
Yeah, you have to renew. You have to. I follow that.
You burn it and kill it. Oh.
Yeah, you have to let it decompose naturally. A friend of mine, he's in Talparo, Brazil, Talparo area, and he has a lot of bamboo. So he blows it. He has coffee, cocoa, and coffee. So he blows the bamboo leaves around the like a mulch around his plants, right? And he said for this dry season, he didn't have to wet a single thing. So all the water restrictions, etc., didn't bother him because the bamboo mulch is breaking down, it keeps moisture, and that moisture is just sufficient for the roots of the plant. Okay, not overwet or anything.
So you don't have to soak down the plants.
No, you don't need to soak it down because it will hold
I wet
moisture.
it till it draining through.
No,
You know?
it holds moisture naturally. Again, think back
Yeah,
on
but
nature.
well, I guess the difference is some of the ornamental plants too. It have some plants like you have to wet every day.
Well, it depends on the soil mix.
But that goes back to the
So is
soil.
the
No,
soil
but
drying out? Is the soil drying out because it's too
Yeah.
sandy or too exposed or
to clay or something. It doesn't have that here. Remember, the organic matter helps retain.
yeah, I hear you. I think I understand now. This is really I'm
and now
feeling
getting
kinda
the difference between the soil and the
I'm feeling-
organic matter.
So
I'm already feeling like I went on a course. No, the information I understand as you speak though why certain things, a friend gave me the pawpaw. I had a pawpaw before and I find my pawpaw tree just dying. And then someone said pawpaw need sun because I guess it was under and I shifted and I put them more in the where you can get more sun. Although I don't have that much sun, but I am seeing the difference in the growth. But when I shifted, then the one I had before died, and I understand why it was dying. So, but the soil, I use different type of soil, and I have to pay attention. I'm gonna do that mix use though. Although it's so much easier to go by Terrian and get a bag, but I would. My thing is, I don't like. I have to. That means I have to put a big drum somewhere to mixing, and I don't like that.
No, Jennifer, you don't need a big drum. You can do a nice. If you do a nice like a decorative pot, like one of the probably a 20-inch pot, and you just put the leaves in there. And next time somebody with a whacker come, just keep whacking. You don't need no.
It won't be big enough for a whacker to do that. It has to be big enough to the whacker.
A whacker this big, and
so they just stir it in.
The nylon, yeah.
The nylon, yeah.
Okay, all right. Because I was thinking I don't want any
What we did, they put a piece of tarpaulin and a piece of wood. When he put the whacker in and whack up, and it was like a blender.
Yeah.
I will look into that. But I think that information about the mix, I can see that making a big difference.
Yeah.
The persons who, when you're planting and you're wondering why dying, or you're worried whether you put too much water, you see the water draining out. I definitely I'm going to do that. I may not be as scientific and precise buying peat mold and all that. I think I would settle for the leaves and the two different kind of soils that I've been buying.
Yeah.
And I will talk to you. I think about the 7 bags for 100. I think.
Well, look, you're paying from 7 for 100, 5 for 100 by you, and Terry mixer 1 for 100.
Yeah. But I want a big crocus plant full of soil. Actually, the
I will
five
check
for
up the
100.
cost of my mix, and I will
Yeah.
get the price.
And I must tell you, the 5 for 100, the bar's it's a small bag, you can only do like 3 pots with that. It's not that much.
Actually, then again, you see, like most people, when they cut the lawns and do the trimming of the plants, etc., they could save all of that, put it in like have a little area and make the
I would definitely, because I have enough matter, enough material out there, natural, that I can put together as when I'm cleaning up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is better than buying something if you don't know what they have in it.
Okay. And I would for vegetable, I'm going to go use in addition with ornamentals, I'll go back to doing some vegetable gardening, but I would use containers. I like the idea of a mix.
How much bags in a yard of soil? A truckload, a full truckload. How much bags there?
A yard of soil, I think it's about 15 to 20 crocus bags will give you a yard of soil.
All right.
A yard is like what you call like a bucket, the
2 buckets then, 2 yards.
The
2 yards.
front end loaders.
Yes, 2 of those.
Right.
2 of those. I will cannot customer bag of soil.
That's okay.
You're breaking up.
5 for 100. You have to give me 7 for 100. Not.
No.
A special.
I think
one for 100, 1 bag for 100. The amount of things you put in it, 1 for 100.
I'm okay because when I buy the other bag from the plant shop, I'm paying $80. So let me add 20 from it.
It's cheap because I looked at a pallet of the commercial, the people brand soil. The people who make the soil, very fancy brand, they really are recycling plants because what they have is that all the coconut vendor, all the cut grass that CPEP use, and they mix it up and they put it,
and they mix it so they get that. So that's a good mix.
So I looked at their pallets and I kind of eyeballed the pallet to the tray of the truck and I figured a pallet was the equivalent of what I filled the truck with, just eyeballing. And that pallet was 50 bags. The pallet was 50 bags. So I work out my thing. My bag of soil is $51.50.
So you could go into business, soil business.
No, it's really interesting.
But critically, and why it made, if I needed 50 bags and I needed to buy complete soil, I would have paid one something or more for a bag. And that yard, between fixing my ornamentals, which were in a horrible state, and then topping up all my troughs, I used it up and I have 6 bags reserved for continually topping up.
See how many bags you really need if you're doing
you can't
garden.
play one. And one of the things that I realized too is that, I really have to not be frustrated by the fact that you have to replenish every year, because when you look at the forests and the hills, those leaves fall every season.
Well,
Leaves fall.
yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
why
Right.
would we think that when we buy soil last year, it must last for 6 years?
Yeah. Right. So that's why, like in my case, what I do when I have potted plants, okay, I top it up with the leaves. So I rake it up, I top it up, and I just put it in the soil and mix up as best as possible and leave it.
Yeah. And
It
people
will
would have
decompose.
seen the video of your garden at the start of these shows. It is so beautiful. So you
Carl,
look at
what
soil.
how else can I crush if the leaves, have the leaves in a big bag? There must be a way I could crush it without calling the workman to do that thing.
I
They
can't. The only thing
dry.
I could suggest
Just
to you
pong it.
is
I could just pong it.
no. What I could suggest to you is take a little area home by you and make
Uh-huh.
like a concrete floor base with some sand,
Mhm.
about 3 to 4 foot cube, right? And put all your soil in there and just leave it.
Mm.
Not to compose with all those insects and all that at all.
You have to
And
have
the
the
insects will come
insects.
naturally. It will come naturally. Right?
No, no.
Mm.
They're not
Okay,
crawling
but
out.
I understand what you have to do,
Yeah.
and I would do the container gardening. I like that. I'm okay with the ornamentals, so I understand that. But I really want to do some vegetable garden.
Yeah.
The grow box is a good idea, you know. I will look at something that is pleasing to the eyes that I
Yeah.
could put out in the sun.
Yeah.
But
But
it's
again,
great
not-
information. It's really great information.
But again, you have to look at what you want for your yard or your space, right?
Now I am only planting, let me be honest, I'm only planting the vegetables that I eat.
That's the only ones you plant.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's the only
Nothing
one.
wrong.
nothing to give, not that stress to say I'm giving everybody. So
Yeah,
I have, and that is in the planning, and I hear you with that because I need to know what are the vegetables or herbs that I'm interested in.
yeah,
I have to look at now, of course, what going on the shade and what has to go in the sun and what are the containers. I think you have it set out really nicely there. What are the containers that most suitable for what I want? And I
Yeah.
think that, and I understand the soil. So I would go that way with the planning. You know,
but
it
within
makes
your
sense.
planning, remember, you have to remember to is what you want, eh?
Yes, it's only what I want.
So you want a garden, right? So your garden must have ornamentals, it have the bromeliads, etc. It have a
Oh
vegetable.
yeah, so I'm good with my garden.
And a water
Then again,
feature.
Plenty shade.
Good. Well, okay, great. But what you need is this is how my garden must look. So if you're going to
Yeah.
contain this, you have to decide whether I want black containers or blue or green.
Oh yeah, no, I'm good at all that. That part I could do. I know the shape, the type. Yeah,
Right, so
but you see
when you
the
walk through the
scientific
garden, you see
aspect, what you're
different
talking
features.
about with soil and where the sun and all that, that information is really valuable. I think for anyone who wants to set up and start a vegetable garden. Carl, I must say, I learned so much about soil. I can now understand why some plants die, some stay nice and upright, etc. And I have to decide if I'm going to do my own mix or if I'm going to use Sterrian mix. So we must thank you. And, we have to continue because Corpus Christi is coming up. And what we really would like, our tribe to know about, and I also, is that when we're going out here now to purchase these plants to start the vegetable garden or even the ornamental garden, that we need to understand what we are buying, and to choose our plants right. So, and that will be just the week of Corpus Christi, the Wednesday. And so, of course, we having you to come back again. We're really taking advantage of you here, right? And your expertise to share with our audience, how we go about shopping for our plants. So again, thank you, and we see you the week before Corpus Christi or Corpus Christi week.
Thank you very much for having me, and let's get growing.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh dear, Jennifer, we know the source of our troubles.
I understand why some things grow and some don't, or some take very long. And you know what, though, Terry-Ann, you see that when Carl talked at the beginning about the planning, it is so critical for us to plan and not just say, we want this plant and we putting down this plant and we putting it, we have space in the yard. You know, we learned before about you have to look and see where you are in terms of where the sun is coming and if you're getting if any shade or not shade, etc. So you know what? This is a great, as Terry-Ann had said at the beginning, it's a masterclass. It's a serious, serious masterclass. After these shows, let me tell you, we all will be much better gardeners, let me put it that way. Yeah.
Definitely. And I mean, soil, who knew? I didn't know the difference between soil and organic matter. Oh, I very well know it now.
We all do now. Yeah.
So anyway, we still reminding you, here's your teaser. We're working through Corpus Christi first. We'll get that together. But 21st of June is coming up. And enjoy another view of Carl's garden. And one more glimpse of the filler on our river line. So
and by next week we'll have all the other details on that great river line that we planted.
yes. So bye. So see you.
Bye.
Good. Happy gardening.
Yes, we have our event coming up in June. You know, you all have been asking since the last event. When is the next event? That event is on the 21st, Friday, the 21st of June. And guess what it is? It's a river lime. Yeah. You know, we actually, Terry-Ann and I visited the site. We went to Trini River Lime in Matura. So we went to take some pics and to share it with you to get you all excited about this coming event. Yeah.
So look forward to that. Book your dates.
50 Plus Tribe and followers from Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean.
Thank you for joining us on this Connections 50 Plus 5.8G Alive show.
We hope you enjoyed the lively conversation and look forward to seeing you next week.
Don't forget to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We really love getting your feedback. Bye for now.